Hello, this is Leisha Breen with Journey to Greatness, 365 days to your best year yet. And over the past few days, we've been talking about hurdles and constraints that come up in our life, those frustrating circumstances that can stop us from making progress if we allow them to. Have you ever noticed that life can be going along pretty nicely, then oopsie-daisy, the next thing you know, we're experiencing a global pandemic. We're stuck at home watching endless hours of television and then going out of our minds. And indeed, there's so many of us that went through this crisis unscathed. But COVID has been a nightmare, even a tragedy for just as many people. Because of this, we must acknowledge those people who are still suffering and experiencing the aftermath of this disaster. And we really can't forget about our brothers and sisters in poor countries that don't have access to medication or vaccines. We must keep them in our prayers and in our hearts. And as I said in yesterday's podcast, that fallout from COVID, it is still going on. 3 of my peers, their stores were just closed. And now they're jobless. They're really talented general managers. They'll find other work, I know. And, when one door closes, another opens up. But, it's a shock. It's going to be a challenge with their finances. And I've talked to a few of them, and they are, they're very positive and they're on the solution level, but they're a little nervous as well. So this isn't by any means over. Yes, the numbers are coming down. Yes, things are seemingly much better. But we need to keep in mind those that are still suffering. And as these COVID numbers decrease in the United States, Americans are beginning to rejoice. I mean, I see it all around me. People are really starting to get excited about life and all the possibilities that stand before them. Still, as I have discussed in previous podcasts, just the past few days, the fallout from the pandemic continues to plague thousands in the United States and well beyond. So, life's a journey. And as we are walking our particular path, making good progress, as I stated at the beginning of this, we are all going to run into that brick wall sooner or later, whether it be COVID or some other pandemic or some other obstacle. I want to share with you what I do in those moments. And this is a skill that I have gleaned and worked on maybe in the past 5 years. It's certainly not something that I was aware of or had available to me in my youth. When I run into a brick wall, I see it this way. I can choose the easy path and avoid the challenge before me, which is what I would do when I was in my 20s and maybe even in my 30s. I would stick my head in the sand and I wouldn't take the challenge. The other option is I can commit to finding ways of getting through, over, around that wall that is blocking my way forward. When challenged by a person or a circumstance, I make a declaration that I will forge ahead and not give up. And I do this in a very stubborn way. It empowers me. I declare to myself that I will use all my resources to find a solution or many solutions, because it's oftentimes going to take more than one. In doing so, I'm creating my future and not allowing the circumstances or even the opinions of other people, which is another topic, to design my life. Oftentimes we give away our power. We give our power away to circumstances. We also subconsciously or consciously give away our power and our potentiality to the opinions of other people, which really are just opinions. And as my mother used to say, they're a dime a dozen. The facts lie within you. We each create our future with our thoughts, our actions, and our deeds. And in difficult times, we must tap into our courage and our faith that good will come to us. Think of this for just a minute. The American Constitution. It's a beautiful compilation of words and philosophy. These words have created the life we all live in America. Words and the philosophy behind them, and in particular, our words create our world. And it is in the coupling of these words, our words, beliefs, and acts with courage, that break down the barriers that stand before us. So we have to evaluate our words. We have to evaluate our beliefs and then our actions. And we have to drum up that courage. Get angry, get upset, get pissed, but take action and move forward, because that's how you're going to break that wall down. You're not going to do it by hiding your head in the sand the way I used to, like an ostrich. You see, I still have friends that are going through a dark time right now due to the byproduct of this COVID pandemic. A few are tapping into their creativity and their resourcefulness, and it is they that are making progress to overcome, and they're getting back on the path of their choosing. So my friends, if you're in any circumstance that is disturbing to you or scaring you, take a step back and look at the words you're using to describe that circumstance. Take a step back and look at the philosophy you have about the circumstance. And what kind of behaviors are you allowing to creep into the actions that you're taking to get rid of that circumstance? Are they solid? Are they something that's going to help you get through it? Analyze that. And then take better actions if you need to. Use better words and get into a different mental state. Make better choices. So choose wisely. But first and foremost, choose to choose and not be blown by the winds around you. Let me give you an example. I think it was from 1962, and it's in regard to John F. Kennedy. I believe Joe Biden talked about it in his address last night to Congress. And it was on September 12, 1962, in a speech that President John F. Kennedy delivered at Rice University. He announced that the United States would land a man on the moon by the end of the decade. At that time, numerous barriers stood in the way of such an expedition. Much of the needed technology had not even been invented yet. But rather than sticking his head away in the sand or running away from this challenge, President Kennedy made a commitment. He committed to throwing himself into the project and finding the solution. Kennedy understood the creative power of words. He predicted that this ambitious goal would, in his words, serve to mobilize and measure the best of our energies and skills, quote unquote. And President Kennedy was right. For the next 7 years, the levels of motivation and energy within NASA were at an all-time high. I don't know about many of you listening to this, but I was alive. I was a very, very young girl when they landed on the moon, but I watched that in awe in black and white television. It was amazing. It's still amazing to this day for people who see that. Scientists and engineers put their mind and their heart toward making Kennedy's words a reality, just like all of these scientists with these different pharmaceutical companies put their heart and soul into finding a vaccine for the coronavirus. And I'm hoping they'll do the same thing for cancer. But back to my story about President Kennedy. On July 20th, 1969, Neil Armstrong took one giant step for mankind. And although Kennedy's words were not in and of themselves sufficient to achieve the great feat of landing a man on the moon, much hard work from thousands of committed people was necessary. They went a long way to mobilize and motivate those thousands to achieve what only a few years earlier seemed impossible. So his words motivated thousands of people to take positive action toward a common goal. Commit to a goal that is personally important to you. and take a first giant step toward realizing it, just like Kennedy did when he proclaimed that he was going to have a man land on the moon. Now, I hope I've given you something to think about. Commit and choose to choose right-minded thinking and actions. Let's go ahead and get into our mindfulness meditation for the morning. Well, it's morning for me. And we're going to do one of my favorite meditations. It's called, What Are You Excited For? Today we're going to focus on something that we are looking forward to. As we begin, please close your eyes and make sure you're sitting up straight in a dignified fashion. We're going to take 3 deep breaths in through the nose and release through the mouth. So here we go. Deep breath in through the nose and release through the mouth. Deep breath in through the nose and release through the mouth. Deep breath in through the nose and release through the mouth. As you continue breathing, take some time to think about something you are excited for. This can be something that will happen. It can happen later today, next week, or even next year. Picture it in your mind's eye, whatever it is. Get a solid picture of what that exciting thing is. What will it look like? Who will be there? Really try to picture the scene and notice everything about it. Now gently shift your focus to how you will be feeling about this exciting thing. What will your body and mind feel like when you are there? Really focus all of your energy on what it will be like. Will it be fun? Will you be happy? Will you feel ecstatic? Will it be a positive experience? Will you feel like a winner? Will you feel loved? Will you be surrounded by people that love you and that you love? Will it be one of those moments in time that you never forget? When you are finished, take a deep breath in through your nose and release through your mouth. And now you can slowly open your eyes. You know, I want to thank you for being here. This will be my last podcast for a while about overcoming hurdles. But as long as I see people suffering on a daily basis, then I want to make sure that I'm putting out a message there that can maybe uplift someone's spirits or give them some food for thought. Maybe give them a different way of handling whatever the situation may be in their life that's going to help them get through it quicker. Some medicine for the mind. Again, I thank you for being here, and I hope that your journey is blessed with love and gratitude for the things you do have. Always remember to be bold, be brave, and always, always be your authentic self. Until we meet again, God bless.